There was a mountain in South Vietnam that drew attention out of proportion to its size. It rose alone from flat countryside near the Cambodian border, high enough that a man standing on its summit could watch movement across miles of jungle and farmland. In a war where most fighting took place unseen, that kind of visibility carried a lot of weight. Because of it, the position was occupied, attacked, repaired, and attacked again for years. Forces could hold the top, but they could never get complete control of the slopes below. Supplies came in by helicopter, observers watched the horizon, and units rotated through knowing the calm rarely lasted long. Control of the top meant communication, early warning, and influence over the surrounding province. The struggle for that single piece of ground became a steady condition rather than a single battle, a contest measured not by capture or loss alone, but by how long the summit could continue to function. Only later would it become widely known by name. In the western approaches to Saigon, near the Cambodian border in Tay Ninh province, rises a single granite mountain from otherwise flat countryside. The Vietnamese called it Núi Bà Đen, the Black Virgin Mountain. To American planners, it became a landmark, a listening post, and a problem that never truly went away. The mountain stood roughly 3,000 feet above rice paddies and jungle. From its summit, a radio operator could monitor large portions of War Zone C, one of the main staging areas used by North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces operating out of Cambodia. Artillery observers could watch roads, infiltration routes, and movement toward Saigon. Radar and communication relay equipment placed there extended American reach deep into contested territory. In 1964, U.S. Special Forces inserted by helicopter and seized the summit from local Viet Cong units. A communications and intelligence site was established almost immediately. The installation became part relay station, part observation post, and part symbol of presence in a province that saw constant cross-border infiltration. Control of the peak did not secure the mountain, it secured only the top. Below the crest lay steep rock faces, dense jungle, caves, and tunnel complexes. American forces held the summit and landing zones while enemy forces operated on the slopes and at the base. Patrols climbed down to clear positions and were often engaged at close range.
The men conduct patrols down the slopes almost daily. Sometimes visibility drops to just a few yards. The pace is usually slow going, and they stop often. The patrol will not typically stay out too long. The purpose is not to hold the slope, but to make it difficult for the Viet Cong to move freely near the top.
Enemy units could observe helicopter approaches and fire on resupply aircraft. The battlefield existed in layers rather than lines. By 1967 and 1968, the mountain had become a familiar name in situation reports. Units rotated through to guard the installation, repair equipment, and keep the summit supplied. Resupply was almost entirely by helicopter.
Resupply aircraft arrive quickly and leave quickly. The helicopter hovers just long enough for cargo to be pushed out onto the ground. Soldiers must often leave cover to retrieve the supplies, putting them in harm's way. The aircraft and crew work quickly, oftentimes taking fire from Viet Cong fighters below.
Weather and downdrafts made landings uncertain. Mortars fired from unseen positions could reach the summit. Even when the top was quiet, movement was visible below. During the period surrounding the Tet Offensive, attacks intensified across the region. On the night of May 13, 1968, enemy forces launched a coordinated assault against the summit installation. Mortars struck first, followed by ground probes through the perimeter wire.
Late this afternoon, firing broke out along a rocky ledge below the crest. The engagement lasted several minutes, mostly automatic weapons and grenades. The troops remained in position rather than pursuing down the slope. Troop movement downhill is often limited once contact is made because the terrain favors Viet Cong fighters below. Artillery from the lowlands was called in and adjusted from the summit. American forces remain in control of the summit tonight.
Fighting continued through the night as defenders called for gunship and artillery support from positions in the lowlands. By morning, the attackers withdrew. The position remained in American hands, but casualties were heavy and the installation was damaged. The action illustrated the central problem of the mountain. Possession did not prevent attack, it invited it. Through the remainder of 1968 and into 1969, clearing operations were conducted around the slopes. Infantry units moved through caves and vegetation, attempting to deny observation points and firing positions. The effort rarely lasted beyond the patrol itself. Enemy forces withdrew, then returned after the units rotated out. The mountain functioned less as a captured objective and more as a contested observation tower surrounded by hostile ground. In 1970, large-scale sweeps again targeted the area in conjunction with operations near the Cambodian border. Helicopter insertions placed troops both on the summit and at blocking positions below. Enemy casualties were reported, but the pattern did not change. Control of the top could be maintained. Control of the mountain could not. By this stage of the war, the site's primary importance lay in communications and intelligence. Equipment on the summit extended radio coverage across a wide sector and supported operations throughout 3rd Corps Tactical Zone. The loss of the mountain would not decide the war, but its retention simplified command and control in a region where distances and vegetation complicated coordination. As American forces began withdrawing, South Vietnamese troops assumed responsibility for the position. Attacks continued intermittently. In 1972, and again in the years that followed, the garrison endured periods of isolation as enemy units controlled the approaches. Helicopters could not always land. Supplies were rationed. The mountain's value remained unchanged. Whoever occupied it could observe and influence movement across the province. In 1975, as North Vietnamese conventional forces advanced across the south, the defenders could no longer maintain the position. The mountain was abandoned after extended pressure. For the first time since 1964, the summit no longer served as an Allied observation post. Núi Bà Đen did not produce a single decisive battle or a clear turning point. Its significance lay in repetition. The same ground was seized, attacked, repaired, and attacked again for more than a decade. It demonstrated a characteristic of the war in 3rd Corps' tactical zone. Control of terrain was temporary, but observation and communication were essential. The mountain's height magnified its importance far beyond its size. In the end, the Black Virgin Mountain remained what it had been from the beginning, a place that offered advantage to whoever stood on top, and a constant target because of it. This has been a report from South Vietnam. Thank you for joining us tonight.